Edgar Wright and the Cornetto trilogy. The Cornetto trilogy, a series of films featuring a heartbroken loser and a chaotic friend trying to face the least expected. Edgar Wright is a genius when it comes to visual comedy. Wright, already known for his unique style, found his perfect collaborators in Simon Pegg and Nick Frost in his first major film, Shaun of the Dead, refining it further in Hot Fuzz and The World's End. The result? A trilogy of films that masterfully blend comedy, action, and horror, with characters that evolve in ways that are both surprising and deeply satisfying. When I say Wright is a master of visual storytelling, I mean it. His quick cuts, unexpected bursts of violence, and visual gags are impressive, but what truly sets him apart is the boldness with which he uses these techniques. First, let's talk about Shaun of the Dead. From the very beginning, the chaotic duo of Shaun and Ed is front and center, leading to Shaun's breakup with his girlfriend. The movie subtly hints at the impending apocalypse, whether through background events like people collapsing in the street or news reports that Shaun ignores until he can't anymore.
Who are literally being eaten alive.
The witness reports are sketchy. One unifying detail seems to be that the attackers in many instances appear to be...
This British comedy at its finest. No matter how dire the situation, the key is to just enjoy the ride. Over-analyzing the jokes or the plot almost feels like an insult to the genre. Yet the film is undeniably clever, and Wright's attention to details? Amazing. Wright's knack for foreshadowing is evident throughout. For instance, Ed accidentally spoils the entire plot when after Shaun's breakup he suggests they drink a Bloody Mary. And now to the first zombie they encounter, Mary. He then mentions drinking the king's head, foreshadowing the plan to bash Philip's head, and then drinking a couple of princesses, referring to Liz's friend, Diane and David. The plan ends with them staggering back to the Winchester, which they do in a brilliant scene where they pretend to be zombies and having shots which they end up taking, but from a shotgun.
Stagger back in. Bang! We're back at the bar for Shaun's. How's that for a slice of fried gold?
No.
Come on, man.
Notice how everyone who tells Shaun you've got red on you eventually becomes a zombie.
You got red on you.
Oh, you got red on you.
Yeah.
To those displayed
Red
by
on you.
their attack.
Or how Shaun is portrayed as a zombie in his normal day-to-day life. Even the military swooping in to fix everything is a taboo in zombie movies. All of these are played for laughs, showcasing Wright's flair for the unexpected. And now, my personal favorite, Hot Fuzz. 4 years later, Wright reunites Simon Pegg and Nick Frost in Hot Fuzz, and this time, the stakes are even higher, the plot is more outrageous, the characters funnier, and the action even more over the top. Wright wastes no time landing his first joke, with Pegg's character making the same face in his ID photo as it does in real life. A simple, yet effective gag. Wright also has a knack for casting world-class actors in the briefest of roles. He casted Kate Blanchett, only to cover her entire face and only for a few moments. The sequence where Angel leaves town is deliberately made more painful with quick cuts of him and his peacefully boarding train after train. The supporting cast is a treasure trove of visual humor. The duo of Andys delivers hilarious moments like this scene where they are trying to see if Angel have anything to say. Simple, but a great job. And the introduction of Sergeant Tony, with the board behind his head describing him, is brilliant. Edgar Wright even directed Nick Frost to turn around during the fence jumping scene to prove he did his own stunts. The recurring gags are expertly woven into the narrative. The Lost Swan becomes an ongoing joke. And the idea of seemingly harmless village folk turning out to be unhinged is both clever and unsettling. From Simon Skinner jokingly calling himself a criminal to Mrs. Cooper's wonderful response to the mention of fascism.
Oh, I see. It's fascism.
Fascism. Wonderful.
They are calling themselves out from the start, though on a first watch you might just laugh it off as a joke. Like Mr. Treacher actually hiding something under his coat, or Sergeant Tony's inability to follow Angel's order and saying what he said, only to nail it at the end and giving orders and having Angel say what he said.
Angel.
Huh?
Help me.
Okay, we get a proper cordon up, we let the fire crews finish their stuff, and then we get forensics in to do a thorough sweep of the house.
Very good. What he said.
In the early 2000s, the British box office was filled with action movies with their signature British plot, like Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, or Snatch, but there weren't a lot of cop movies. So Wright just took a lot of inspiration from American cop movies and mixed that with the so-called British plot and his own comedy and visuals, and created Hot Fuzz. And now, The World's End. In The World's End, Wright brings us back to the heartbroken loser, but now nostalgic and struggling with his past friendships. Despite knowing there will be an unexpected violent twist, thanks to the casting, Wright still manages to surprise us with an absurd plot. With more experience under his belt, Wright leaves you hanging with unanswered questions, only to surprise you with an unexpected twist. The foreshadowing is once again masterful. When Gary talks about painting the town red, he's actually hinting at the film's climax. Nearly every scene from the flashback is revisited, except for the final one, which cleverly foreshadows the spaceship's arrival. Gary's explanation of swapping every component of his car, yet considering it the same car, parallels the town's transformation, where the inhabitants are replaced by blanks.
Much? I mean, she's had a bit of work done. I had to replace the brakes, suspension, exhaust, seats, wheels, paneling, carburetor, manifold, whole engine really, mirrors, headlamps. Other than that, she's the same old motor.
You could almost say an antique.
Yet, it's still considered the same town, and who could forget the Dr. Ink joke, which ends up with the characters getting ink-like blood on their hand.
Yeah, you do. With Dr. Ink.
Wright's attention to details is impeccable. When Oliver returns from the bathroom after becoming a blank, his Bluetooth starts blinking, but we know they don't have any cell service in there. It's blinking because he is connected to the network, a subtle yet brilliant touch. The film's core message is about Gary's inability to move on from his glory days. This is evident in how he introduces his friends with their childhood nickname and in a playful font, only for them to be reintroduced later with their adult name and in a more mature font. Everyone has grown up except Gary. And my favorite part is, instead of giving Gary the character growth we expect, Wright grants him what he wanted all along, which adds a delightful layer of irony. But I have to say, it isn't entirely true. The 12 paths symbolize the 12 steps of healing. Gary went through the 12 steps, and in the end, although Gary joins his childhood friends through the blanks, he lets go of his actual friends. I think Wright did this only to avoid the bitter ending. Throughout all three films, Wright's recurring gags tie the trilogy together. The fence jumping scene, or Nick Frost eating Cornetto in A Shaun of the Dead, and Hot Fuzz as seeing it at the end of The World's End. The Cornetto flavors are color-coded for each film's theme. Strawberry for Shaun of the Dead is red for zombies, vanilla for Hot Fuzz, of course blue is for the police, and mint for The World's End, that shows green for aliens. All of this showcase Wright's insane attention to details. In the end of The World's End, Andy sees a Cornetto wrapper fly by, and the look of deep sorrow in his eyes is a fitting close to the Cornetto trilogy. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button and leave a comment, and subscribe for more videos.